All right, let's dive in. When you hear M&A, your mind probably jumps straight to acquisitions, right? Buying things. But there's this whole other side of the coin, selling. A divestiture is, frankly, one of the most complex and powerful strategic moves a company can make. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down the entire divestiture lifecycle, giving you the playbook you need to guide your EY clients through it successfully.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the basics, the what and the why. Then we'll get into the real meat of it, the how. That's planning and execution, where we, as consultants, really earn our keep. And finally, we'll look at life after the deal, because that's where the true transformation happens for the seller. Let's get to it. Okay, first things first, let's get our heads straight. M&A is not a one-way street. It's not just about buying and integrating. Actually, in today's market, smart separations, divestitures, are becoming one of the most crucial tools in the toolbox for companies that want to sharpen their focus and create real shareholder value. And this really gets to the heart of the mindset shift. In acquisition, it's about putting puzzle pieces together. But a divestiture, from our client's point of view as the seller, it's about carefully pulling one piece out without breaking the rest of the puzzle. It's a completely different discipline, requiring a totally different approach. So what are we really talking about when we say divestiture? Well, at its core, it's the sale of an asset, and that's usually a whole business unit. I like to think of it as strategic pruning. As a company grows, some branches just don't fit the main trunk anymore. A divestiture is about trimming that branch so the core business can get the resources it needs to grow even stronger. So that brings up a big question. Why would a company go through all this trouble? Let me tell you. The reasons are almost always strategic. This isn't about just cutting your losses. It's about making a very calculated move to set the company up for a much, much stronger future. And you can see the key drivers right here. The number one reason we see, a burning desire to refocus on the core business. But it's also about raising cash for that next big thing, or maybe finally cutting loose a division that's been dragging down performance. Sometimes it's to keep regulators happy. And, sometimes the simple truth is that the pieces of a company are worth more apart than they are together. A divestiture is how you unlock that hidden value. Okay, this brings us squarely into our world, your role as a consultant. Because proper planning is everything, and believe me, it starts long before anyone in the public knows a deal is happening. It all begins with the Separation Management Office, or SMO. For any divestiture, and I mean any, the first critical step is standing up the SMO. This is your command center. It's the governance structure for the entire transaction. A successful deal is literally born in the SMO. And this is where you, as the consultant, start providing immense value from day one. And this is so crucial. All of this initial work happens behind a strict wall of confidentiality. We're talking about building the entire blueprint for the deal, from the high-level strategy and execution plan, right down to the budget and resources, before the outside world even gets a whisper that something's up. This secret prep work is what makes or breaks the whole thing. All right, now we're in it, the execution phase. This is, without a doubt, the most challenging part of the journey. Even the most brilliant strategy can absolutely fall apart right here. This is where the tangled web of a carve-out becomes very, very real. And the stakes? They are just astronomical. Get a load of this number. A Deloitte survey found that a staggering 84% of M&A deals failed to generate the value they promised. 84%. And the main culprit? You guessed it, poor execution. This is exactly why a flawlessly managed separation isn't just important, it's everything. Now, to navigate this phase, you have to speak the language, so let's do a quick jargon bust. These are the terms you're going to live and breathe. Sellco is the parent company doing the selling. RemainCo is what's left behind after the deal. Day one, that's the moment of truth, when the new entity goes it alone. And entanglements, that's the messy web of shared IT, HR, and finance systems that we have to carefully untangle. The actual work here is a whole series of tactical moves. You're basically the orchestra conductor for separating every single function. And let me tell you, IT is almost always the big one, the foundation that everything else is built on. You'll be deep in transition service agreements, or TSAs, to provide temporary support. You'll be separating contracts, planning the nerve-wracking final cutover, and of course, making sure the cybersecurity strategy is rock solid through it all. But listen, the job isn't done on day one, not even close. The final, and you could argue the most valuable phase of a divestiture, is turning our focus back to the seller company and using this deal as a powerful catalyst for its own transformation. This quote just nails it, doesn't it?
A divestiture isn't just a transaction, it's a strategic opportunity. The real goal is to help RemainCo, the company that's left, emerge from this whole process as a stronger, more focused, and way more efficient organization. And one of the most powerful tools we have to make that happen is something called clean sheeting. See, after the divestiture, the seller company has this incredibly rare chance to just hit the reset button. We can help them rebuild their entire operating model and their go-to-market strategy from a blank slate, perfectly aligned with their new, leaner structure and whatever's happening in the market right now. So, what's the end game here? What's the goal of all this transformation? It's pretty simple, really. It's about helping our client become more agile, slash their operating costs, and build new, sustainable capabilities that will let them absolutely win in their market. The divestiture isn't the end of the story. It's the launchpad for a leaner, stronger company. Which really leaves us with this final thought. Look, when you're in the trenches of an SMO, it's so easy to see the deal closing as the finish line. But for your client, the real game-changing opportunity is what comes next. As their trusted advisor, our job is to help them see that a divestiture isn't an end at all. It's a powerful new beginning.